Attorney Lewis Raymond. Hello, Attorney Raymond.
Hello, Miss Powell.
How are you today?
I'm fine. I'm glad to be here today with the Power Hour.
Yes,
Let's do this.
yes. Well, we are here to what are we doing? Enrich, empower, and educate our listeners on an array of subjects. But today, because you are a real estate attorney, we're going to talk a little bit about that.
All right.
And then you also help small businesses get ready as they make sure they have all their legal documents in order, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. We have a lot of small businesses owners that watch us are those entrepreneurs that are still entrepreneurs, as I call them. They're still working corporate office and they're getting ready to get out there, and they want to make sure that they have certain documents and things in place, and we're going to talk about what that means for them. Okay?
Let's do it.
All right. First, though, we like to remind everybody that you can download the UBM app. Take us anywhere. You can also log into urbanbroadcastmedia.com. And if you want to ask a question or feel like you want to share your thoughts about something we're talking about, feel free to join the conversation by calling 312-754-4333. And always follow and don't forget to like me at Bertina Power on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn, and now we're on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey. Dr. Feeney and Urban Broadcast Media is going global, and we are going in terrestrial media, social media, everywhere, all over the place. So no excuse as to why you can't listen at noon Central Standard Time to the Empower Hour. In the news, Chicago's teen birth rate reaches a new low. So teens' births have reached a new low in Chicago, according to city health officials. I think that's a good thing.
I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. It says in 2015, there were 27.5 births per 1,000 females aged 15 to 19, a significant decrease from the 85.2 rate in 1999. Wow, that was big, right? Data from 2015 and the most recent information available. They say teen births have been on the decline in Chicago since 2010. African American teens have seen the greatest decline, from more than 72 births per 1,000 to 34.9.
That's about half.
Yeah, that is a significant decrease. You know, I should hope that with that decrease, they are saying there is an increase in going to school, right? You know, and wanting to pursue higher education maybe, or working force or what have you. But they said that the Chicago's teen birth is still higher than the national average, which is only 22.3. But I think from 72 to 34.9, that is
it's significant because it gives our youth an opportunity to do things.
Yes. And that's really what we want to make sure that they are able to do, right? Which is to pursue dreams.
Options.
Yeah, options.
That's the
you
word.
know what? That is the word, right? Option, choices, as one would say. Choices. Right. Because once you have a baby at such a young age, your choices go dramatically down, or they become extremely difficult.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So they said babies that are born to teen mothers have increased chances of low birth weight, and infant mortality studies have shown. I don't know, attorney.
No,
right. I don't know, counselor.
No more school.
Right,
I'm
counselor.
done.
All right, counselor. I don't know if you know that, but my youngest son has cerebral palsy, and he had a low birth rate, but I was actually older. In most cases. So I know that if you were to be younger and having this, that it would also cause an extreme amount of stress and issues in that young person's life.
Yes.
Right. So now in news, the professionals are talking about GE announced plans for a major restructuring, including halving its divided, for the third time in this company's 125-year history, and focusing on its healthcare, energy, and aviation divisions. Now, I say aviation, but did I not read in your bio that you come from the world of, Navy, right?
Yes, but a lot of people don't realize that the Navy has more planes than the Air Force.
Okay.
It's just a little thing that we ever try.
That's probably why I thought that, right?
Yes, and we're actually, part of my Navy career, I worked for the F-18 squadrons.
Okay.
So I got a chance to work with the F-18 squadrons as an intelligence officer, so it was fun times. So I know a lot about, unfortunately, more than I need to know about planes.
Okay, all right. Well, that's what they said, that GE is getting into that. And it says in a presentation to investors, the industrial giant also said it would cut its board from 12 members to 8. And the retired CEO, John Flannery's promised to exit over $20 billion in assets. So, also in the news, Uber finalized a multi-billion-dollar deal led by the Japanese conglomerate SoftBank that will result in significant changes in the ride-hailing company's corporate structure.
And that's some good news for Uber. Over the last couple of weeks, they've had a little bit of bad news with out of Britain. They were restructuring the independent contractor. I know it's a little bit of an attorney word I'm thinking about, but they're no longer allowed to have independent contractors. So in England, UK, the individuals who drive for Uber are actually employees.
Oh, right. So that could be coming to the States sometime soon where they do that? Maybe not?
Maybe not.
All right.
It'll be a hard fight.
Well, they said that the $10 billion investment is a big win for the new CEO, Dara, who is working to transform Uber's workplace culture after a year of scandals and ahead of the planned IPO in 2019. So I suspect that would be a good one. Now, you remember Hasbro and Mattel, right? Those are like the. Well, you got children too, don't you?
Yeah, I have a 16-month-old girl and a 5-year-old boy. So
okay, so yeah.
Toys R Us. I'm still a kid too, so I can go down those aisles myself.
All right, so Hasbro has approached rival Mattel to talk about a merger. It's interesting how like a lot of this news that I have to deal with these days are all about merging. These two big conglomerates coming together and making a way with one, right? Pulling their resources together. So Wall Street said that is what is on the talks. A deal between the two biggest U.S. toy makers will put brands like My Little Pony and Barbie and Monopoly all under one roof. And could be of particular value to Mattel, whose market share has been cut to less than half, which is like 11 billion, right?
I'm still stuck on the Monopoly because, quite frankly, that was a family game.
Yes, Monopoly was a good one. But as a girl, Barbie was obviously, Barbie and Ken, they are like the two that go together, and of course the Barbie house and car and everything else. And then Barbie, Mattel actually began to venture out and have African American Barbies, and things like that. So obviously, yes, for the girl side of that side. I remember My Little Pony. That was my little sister, though. Funny. Now, Republicans. This is your neck of the woods, right? Because as a lobbyist, Yeah. So Republicans plan to put the House tax bill up on the floor vote on Thursday this week. Is that a good thing, or
the tax bill is one of the things that's really interesting about the tax bill is they say that middle income families will see an increase, but then when you speak with them about what do they define as middle class, anywhere between $200,000 and $400,000.
Well, I'm sorry, 200 and 400,000 is considered middle class.
Yes, I'm missing out.
So that means anybody under 200,000 is low income.
Right.
Oh,
so it is really interesting. So now, recently, Senator McConnell is trying to backtrack his comments of whether or not the middle class is going to take a tax hike, which they are. A lot of the tax cuts, a lot of the benefits that we were getting out of your taxes now are now going to be eliminated. So medical. So anybody who has a family member or someone who has a lot of taxes, or a lot of medical issues, they're no longer to deduct those out of their taxes. And then there's the school loan. You can't deduct your interest off your school loan. So we going on and on.
Hey, no, we're not going on and on this show. Yeah, we're going to leave that for Doc, right? But I'm glad you are here to share some insight on that tax bill. But, as we all know, and I'm sure we're going to encourage everybody who's listening, if they aren't already, to make sure they get registered to vote. So that
definitely get registered to vote.
Yeah, without that,
I don't care who you're voting for. Let's make sure, well, I care a little bit, but we all need to make sure that our voices is heard.
Right. That's the most important thing. Now, I'm going to end the news with saying that Walmart is planning on increasing its prices for some of those online items as you all get ready for that shopping after Thanksgiving next week. But we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break, listen to a little music. You are listening to Bertina Power on Empower Hour with my guest, Attorney Louis Raymond. We'll come back and learn a little bit more about him. Don't forget to download the app, UBM app, or call us at 312-754-4333 if you have any questions. Yes. Okay. Hey everybody. That's when I say hi to people on the. I know, right? Hey, Randy. Hey, Norma. Hey, Latrice. Tamiko. Constance. Cam. Mary. Teresa. Gloria. Tia. Will. James. Oh my God! Like everybody. Hey, Sean. Cordell. It's a Monday. Y'all ain't got nothing else to do.
Now I got one person. What up, Phil?
Hey, who's that? Hey, Phil. Okay, what's up, bro? All right. Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, we gotta make sure we talk really loud, because one of the biggest things that everybody will text me later about or complain is that my guests cannot be heard.
Okay,
I guess they can hear me just fine.
Yeah, when you talk, well, see, the deal is everybody wants to talk to you.
Right, but it's
turn
just
away
fine.
from
Don't fine. It's fine. It's fine. Just look down at me right
And I'm
here.
trying to figure which one am I looking at?
Both. You got it
All
right. And over here, we gotta say hi to
okay.
to YouTube and Facebook UBM over there. So we got everybody to say hi to. Oh, no, I was getting ready to do something before we had to come back on. Huh?
Just some of the things.
All right, let's do that Instagram shot.
Hey, everybody.
Alrighty.
Hey. I know, right? Like, I'm so better.
Hey,
Cut
Lucille.
off the top of my head, huh? I know, right? There's Tia on here. Hey, Francis.
You might know
Who? Vera?
Lucille Morris.
Oh, hi. Saying he's doing a good job.
Hey, Bertina, smile.
She always with that camera, taking pictures. I'm so glad you didn't have court today and were able to
Off the coast of Africa.
And okay,
Well,
okay, all right.
Well, no, what
Off the
most
Africa.
people know is there was a movie called Captain Phillips, where the pirates took over a U.S. ship. I actually did this. I drafted the memorandum of understanding in the operation areas for all of that over there.
Okay.
Just a little something.
Just a little something. Just a little
There
something.
we go.
So then, when did you make the decision to come home or decide to go to law school and become a lawyer?
I knew I wanted to go to law school when I went in.
I see.
So
Okay.
I actually left the Navy simply to go to law school. So I came back and went to law school in 2009.
Here in Chicago?
Here in Chicago, I went to John Marshall Law School.
John Marshall. All right, John Marshall. Yeah, we have a couple people I know that went to John Marshall Law School. Okay, so then you began the practice. After that, always real estate?
Yes.
Did you go into
Well, I didn't
trial
know-
or criminal or?
So while in law school, I did a lot of criminal work. I worked at what's called a 7-Eleven. So
Mhm.
while you're in law school, after you get so many hours, then you could practice. So
Okay.
I was practicing at the public defender's office. So I did a lot of criminal there.
Okay, all right. We're gonna take a quick station break, counselor. Yes, and I know, right? It goes by pretty fast.
Doesn't it?
We're gonna take a quick break. You are listening to Urban Broadcast Media, Bertina Power, and the Empower Hour. I hope you're enjoying your lunch as well while you are breaking with us. We're gonna take a quick break and get back into finding out why you need an attorney in an Illinois real estate closing. Okay? We'll talk about that. We'll be right back.
Stop talking about me.
Yes. Stop talking about you. Now we're done. That's good. But they now know that your comments and recommendations come with some validity to it. You know what I mean? And that's the key. That's the real key. I know, right?
I understood that, but yeah, these things sweaty.
Yeah, I know, right? Because I usually tell them to come open me this door at lunch because it's like 1,000 degrees in here. Yes, let's see who else. Hey, Yolanda. Hey, Lane. Hey, Eric. Just joined in. Thanks, sis. Randy. She's like looking good. Ooh, these lights. Hot, hot, hot.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, that's what happens, though.
I could have came in with shorts in the bottom half and, had my top.
But you know how they do. They just put a shirt
Just
on,
put a shirt on.
and put on.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is just that I have my shorts underneath here,
But you might have to leave. Lawyers though, you could get a call. You might have to show up. But you don't do criminal, so you don't have that middle of the night call that says I'm in jail.
Well, I do get those.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't do a lot of criminal trial work. I do some DUIs and things like that.
Gotcha.
But if somebody's if somebody's incarcerated, before they do a bond hearing or their bond hearing, because I still take care of. So.
All right. Welcome back to Empower Hour. A counselor and I, Louis Raymond, we're sitting here and just talking about various things. We're talking about the differences, the calls that he may or may not get in the middle of the night. I was like, you don't get real estate clients calling you at 2 in the morning saying I'm in jail, but then again, I don't know, you might.
No.
So, but you said that every now and then you might get a client that says, I have a DUI or something like that. And
well, every once in a while, people actually need an attorney because they've been arrested and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. Even though I won't take their case to trial, I may help out with that initial.
Okay.
Right, because I am familiar with this process. As I said, I worked at the public defender's office for a while.
So now, how was the public defender's office?
I love it.
Yes, and that's very challenging, though, right? Like a day-to-day challenge is a little different.
It is. It's very different than what I do now. And that a lot of times your clients have. When you work with the public defender's office, your goal is to make sure that you mitigate the circumstances. And yes,
we're not going to talk that fancy lawyer talk on my show, all right? We just call it mitigate the what? What does that mean? You just want to make sure that,
We want to make sure that,
if you really did the crime, that you do the least amount of time. Is that what you just said?
That's exactly.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Just keep it 100 for me. What is all of that? Mitigate the what, the who, and the where? Okay, so.
Well, you're not charged by the word.
Hey, yeah, but we're not charging here. So,
Okay.
Yeah, you're making no money today. All right, so we're going to get you in and out here so you can get back to your clients. But the reality of it is most people know that I've been in real estate almost 20 years now, and that I was a very big proponent, not just because my uncle and brother were lawyers in the real estate arena, but because it was clear that when it came down to the deals, it was very, very important to have an advocate for you, I think, right?
Yes.
Would you not say? And this is whether you're a buyer or a seller. Most people think if I'm a seller, I need it more than I did when I was a buyer.
No, I mean, really when you were the buyer, because you want somebody to help prepare everything just in case. I mean, and I hate to say that, we always live the negative point, but you do need to have somebody who's your advocate just in case. Just a quick example, I had a case not too long ago where the woman's disclosure form, as far as I'm going to talk about, the disclosure form said that there's only going to be slight seepage of water in storm conditions in one room of the basement.
Okay, that's what the disclosure said.
That's what the disclosure said.
Okay.
My client has the place for about a month, 6 weeks, and there's about 3 to 6 inches of water in the basement.
The whole basement, not just that room.
Not just that room. Mm-hmm. And so we had to fight for 2 years, pretty much, to get her compensated.
Wow.
And so that's what
it was a false. But in the beginning, would they not have been better to try to determine with just that little statement how far this problem really was from the beginning?
Now, this is true, but one of the things was the inspection.
Right.
So you need somebody who will make sure that your inspections are done properly. Mm-hmm. Once we went behind the walls, you can see that there were actually different layers of water lines. So that you can see over time. Mm-hmm. So you can see that there actually was water damage previously that were different than just a little
Right, and just for everybody that's listening, the fact is that prior knowledge of certain things is something that you must disclose to the new incoming buyer.
Exactly.
And so that's where the real issues are lying here. You know, the house, you know, this is Chicago. You're gonna get some water in some of these basements. That's just not a big thing. But I need to know ahead of time to be prepared for it, and or prior to me acquisition in the property, that I have you do your due diligence to find a way to stop it.
And your value is based off of that. Because if I see that the place has this problem and the value, I still value it at this price, then that's fine. But I need to know, because I may not value it at that price anymore.
Specifically, if I now have to come in and get a sump pump, or have somebody come and do some foundation work and take a little bit more look at it. And a lot of times people don't realize that the real estate agent cannot draft legal documents.
I always try to say that in our world, you know, that the word cannot, people tend to do things they're not supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, they're not supposed to be the ones who do it. But so you want to make sure that your attorney is the one who drafts these documents. Because legally, they're not supposed to be drafting legal documents. You're absolutely right.
Right. Well, we get contracts with fill in the blanks that have been done by attorneys already, and you know, and designed so that there was not favor to the seller or the buyer, but that it is straight down the board, down a legal side. And a lot of times realtors are not, you know, want to make a whole bunch of changes and or do some things. And the fact is, in Illinois, agents can only fill in the blanks of some standardized contracts, but they have made those contract changes now. So anybody in the state of Illinois, you need to know that they have more updated 6.0, 6.1 contracts that are out. And those are designed to eliminate what we used to do back in 2000, 2002, and 3, which would have all these addendums added. And I really did type up most of those addendums myself, you know, with word from word, changing it, but glad to know that. So the attorneys don't write the contracts initially, in the sense they're making an offer and negotiating.
Correct.
And I also want to share this, and you can help me with this, Doc. I'm sorry, because I think of Doc Finney all day. Yeah, so counselor.
Great guy.
Right, that the I lost my thought. That the contract is signed by one side is not a contract.
Correct.
Yeah, that it is pretty much like toilet paper at that point, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you want both sides to sign a contract, and kind of going where I think you were heading earlier, that even though these contracts are predetermined, that you still want an attorney to review them, so that an attorney can explain to you what they mean. Right.
So we shouldn't be, the agent should not also be giving out legal advice.
No, you should.
All right, my agents, my counterparts that are out there, do not give out legal advice. Leave that for the lawyers.
Leave that for the attorney.
Leave that for the lawyers. Now, and that's what you were saying, that you just said that find out what you sign. I know that by the time you actually get to the closing, I know we're talking about the beginning, if we fast forward to the end, when we're at the closing and this stack of papers, if anybody out there has ever closed or bought a piece of property, you know what I'm talking about, and there's a stack of papers that you're signing, and it feels like you might be signing off your first grandson, or, you know, anything, because it just seems like a lot of paper.
It is.
And that the lawyer's job at that moment in time is to do what?
Explain it to you.
Yes.
So you definitely want an attorney, and there are a couple of title companies that won't allow you to close without an attorney there, simply for that reason. You want somebody to explain to you what is in front of you. And it is something that you hear over and over again. Never sign anything that you do not understand. Because on the flip side, and it's sad to say, I've had to deal with foreclosures or selling or purchasing property on the other side of this matter. And people say, oh, nobody explained that to me. That's why you need an attorney, so you can understand what you're signing. Do not be afraid to ask questions. Please, once again, do not be afraid to ask questions with your attorney. That's what they're there for.
Right, so now you just brought up, we're gonna sidetrack, you just brought up another comment that is out there. Short sales, REOs, foreclosures, and right now this whole buy and rehab and sell environment that is out there now. And I think now, even more than when it was just a traditional buy and sell, it's very important to have a lawyer in on the deal, because people are buying houses, some doing very good jobs at the rehab and selling them back, and then some not. And then legally, when you are under foreclosure versus the bank already owning it, those are two different different points in a deal that most buyers and sellers don't even understand.
And it's actually, you know, it's sad. I've realized witnessed it more than once, but I witnessed it more than once, where someone goes through the foreclosure process and they think they don't own the property anymore. And lo and behold, they're getting tax bills, they're getting tickets because the bank has not finished the process in selling it. And so that person still required to pay all of that money.
And so then there is the misperception that the moment that the contract or that the foreclosure process is beginning, that they don't own it anymore. But that's not true.
That's not true. And what I really want to say, and I want to stress, the minute you get the documents, you get an attorney.
Please say that again, a little bit louder, because I don't know if they heard you.
The minute you get any court documents, get an attorney. And the reason I want to stress that is I've seen it, unfortunately, 100 times, where they say they talk to the bank and the bank says, I don't need to go to court.
Right.
And so you don't go to court for the first court date, but the bank and the attorneys do not always communicate. So what later on happens is that you have a default judgment, a judgment against you because you're working with the bank for your modification, but now your property's been sold. And it's sad because once it goes to that selling process, no matter what modification that you may get from the bank, the property's gone.
The property is gone. So the key is that, and I've said this at numerous occasions, if not on this show, you know, anybody that knows when I talk, that I say the first sign of a problem, get help. And that's basically what that is the first sign. The moment I'm not going to be able to make this payment, the moment that I've gotten, you know, I call it a pink slip, but it's not a pink slip, but the moment I've gotten some document in the mail that says you got a court date, or better yet, when those people show up at your door and serve you with something, then you for sure need to turn around and make a call if you haven't had one.
Anytime, and not just for this situation, but anytime you're in the court, get an attorney.
Gotcha. Because that's their house, right?
That's their house.
Right,
so
right.
So get an attorney, and I know one of the things that people always, well, I can't afford it. You can't afford not to.
Well, you know what, that was going to be my next comment, because that is always the question. And the reality is on a closing deal, if we stick to the subject we're talking about, a buyer's side is averaging what for an attorney? $350, $500 on the top end?
On the buyer, yeah. Well,
on the buyer's side.
On the buyer's side, top side about $750.
Okay.
Average about $500. Low end, you get about $300.
Okay, so that in terms of the bigger picture for the deal, to make sure you're not getting a lemon house or get caught into some contract that you can't get yourself out of.
That's a perfect example. The client that I was referring to. So, you know, $500, making sure that, you know, I'm reading the disclosure. Hey, this disclosure is not very detailed. What are you talking about? That simple thing. Had she had an attorney there, that $500 would have saved her the $28,000 that we had to sell for. $500, $28,000. Before we got to $28,000, she had already spent $15 in it.
Gotcha. Into the property that she could have stayed with having somebody reading over and one explaining it and or picking up something like that and saying, I'm gonna need some more information. We're gonna get some more details.
Because when she came to me, the first thing I looked at was the disclosure. Because if it was disclosed, then there's nothing I can do. But when I looked at the disclosure and saw that it was slight seepage in one room, and it's like, no, this don't make no sense.
Right. Okay. All right, well then we definitely want to make sure that we communicate to everybody the importance of that. Now you also work with, and I have somebody asking about personal injury on here. Personal injury lawyers are completely different, Clarence, okay, right? Are they not? Yes. Like that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Ball game, and I have more than a few people that can help you, but no, I stick with property and probate because there's some other things that I do as well. We mentioned lobbying, government affairs, as well as small businesses. Now, personal injury.
Personal injury is a little bit more.
Yes.
But we will allow him to go on the page after we're done with the show, Clarence, and identify some references of some people who do personal injury for you and do that. But as Tracy also mentioned on here, that the real estate attorney and the home inspector are two of the most important people in dealing with a contract.
Yes, and really, it's sometimes difficult to do, but you want to try to get your review period and your inspection done around the same time, because I've seen so many times where I had a closing one time that fell through where the inspector actually had just inspected the house before and was shocked that he saw it on his list, and they didn't disclose half of the stuff that he had put on his previous inspection.
So he had done the house already.
He had literally done the house already.
And had issues the first time. But
125 page.
But then the second one was 50 pages?
No, the second time he did it was 125 because the buyer still didn't disclose all the stuff that was on the previous inspection.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's definitely important to do that. Now, we were mentioning the small business piece
Yes.
to it. And why is it important for an attorney when I am starting up a business, though?
Because you want to have the business structured in the best way that benefits you, not only in the future, but tax present. There's three different companies. Well, we're used to knowing about partnerships.
Right.
And, partnerships. But moving forward, a lot of times what you hear now are called LLCs, S Corp, and C Corps. Now, the C Corps are the corporations that you're normally familiar with, the Yahoo, the major corporations. Then there's the S Corp. The slight difference, there's a few differences there, but trying to be in that we work with a limited amount of time. The S Corp only has 100 shares. Now, those two corporations are corporations where you hear commonly they're taxed twice. The reason that means, what that means is if you have, the company itself is taxed, and then if you give yourself dividends from the shares that you own, those are taxed also.
Gotcha.
And then sometimes you consider it be three taxed, because if you give yourself a salary, then of course you're taxed again.
Tax there. So the key is one, you got to understand your business structure, where you are
Yes.
now and where you want to go.
Exactly.
And then the attorney will make sure then in that process that you are either starting out one way that will allow you to grow, because you can go from one, right? Like you
Yes.
can go from one of the company types, I guess it is,
Right.
that from one to another, but sometimes you can't go backwards.
So the IRS places a time limit, and of course, for some reason I can't think of the top of my head, but it's either 3 or 5 years that you cannot change your tax structure. So
Okay.
if you start off at LLC, you have to stay LLC up to 3 to 5 years.
Okay, so, but then you can change it, but then that's the key is knowing what benefit that is for me when I
Yes,
first start
yes.
out versus once now I have multiple locations. Like I've had several of my guests in the studio come in and they're at one location 15 years, and then now they're opening another location, Navy Pier or down in the Gold Coast somewhere, or just all kinds of things, and that opens them up to a whole nother level of income, as I would think, as far as issues, employees, just a whole slew of things that
Yes.
makes a difference.
And the more you grow, the more you grow, different issues come about.
Right.
When you have 15, there's certain things you have to do. When you have 50, there's certain things that you have to do.
Employees you're referencing.
Employees I'm referencing.
Right, and then of course if you have multiple locations.
Yes.
Now, are there differences if I am doing online business? I think that would be a question of something, when I'm online versus a storefront. Does that change whether or not I need a different company type or one at all? Can I just, have all the money go into my bank account?
Well, if you're online, that actually opens up another can of worms, because then where's your business coming from? If you're online, and are you still doing businesses in Indiana? And because once you start doing a large amount of business in another state, then you're open up to their jurisdiction.
Gotcha, so you have to have a location.
So you have to have a location.
And that's what you do as a lawyer, is give me a foundation for a location?
Well, not only that, I always say you never want to make tax decisions based off of business. You want to do your business the way you feel that's best for you to do your business, but you just want to understand what's the implications and what are you availing yourself to by doing the business the way you're doing it.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you, Counselor. You are surely educating us, enriching us, and empowering us to make sure that if we're going to be out here starting to invest and buy into real estate, for purposes of our own private home, for purposes of investment, for purposes of buying them and then flipping them, whatever it is that we want to do, we need to ensure that we have a good attorney on our side to be able to make sure that we stay out of pitfalls, as well as guide us on the documents that we are signing. But also, if you're interested in a business, starting a business, or you don't know that there's a difference between an S Corp and a C Corp and an LLC and an LLP and all these different things that you need to talk to an attorney with regards to that, right? And then of course, if you get that call, or if you have issues and got locked up, you're gonna want an attorney on speed dial then too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, you are listening to Urban Broadcast Media. I am Bertina Power, and this is Empower Hour. We'll be right back after these station break. Yes. Good business, good business.
Good business, good business, good
Hot.
business.
Okay, open that door, open that door. It's hot, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot. Yes. Get some air. And they don't have a window open over here. That's what it is.
You ain't hot.
Tripping. There you are.
You ain't hot.
Yeah, it's hot in here.
It's hot.
Yeah, it's hot in here. And they need to open the window. What's happening?
Hey, how you doing?
This was Attorney Raymond. This is
How are
whose
you?
show I first came on.
How are you? Good.
On YourTube.
Yeah.
Yes. And you see, we
Man, this is
I know
just-
it's the studio now, baby.
This is just man.
You ain't been here in a
went
while.
downtown real quick.
I tried to tell you I came in here and turned it up
I
on
see.
Empower Hour.
I see. Looks great.
Yeah,
Love it. Love
just
it.
stopping by. You gonna be around when I get off?
Yeah,
Okay.
I see you
All
got
right.
it going on.
Yes, yeah. Listen, UBM, Facebook, we got YouTube, we got Empower Hour, Bertina Power. We all over the place in here.
Very good. Very good.
Leave that open for a minute. Leave that open for a minute. It's hot. Okay. Hey everybody. Hey Kenny. Hey George. Hey Tay. Hey Rachel. Hey Michelle. Hey everybody joining us. Okay. I'm gonna talk about our community stuff. Hey, my microphone is a little crazy today, so I've been leaning in and talking. Nice, okay. All right, welcome back to Empower Hour, and I am Bertina Power talking to Attorney Lewis Raymond. And Attorney, you also, besides practicing law, and a lobbyist, right? You
Yes.
said. So you also, do something else?
I'm an adjunct professor at DePaul University, as well as we just got an email letting me that they've asked me to also be a professor of political science at Kennedy King College.
All right,
Which I'm really looking forward to. Once again, Inglewood kid, want to get back to the community.
Right, that's right in the heart of Inglewood, right
that's
there.
right there,
Kennedy.
6th in Austin.
Yeah, but you know what? They got a lot of things going on over there
Yes,
since
they
you
do.
left.
That Starbucks across the street has already had my visitation a couple of times already.
Okay, all right. You spending a little bit of time over there.
A little bit too much.
Right. Now you're also a family man. You're
Yes,
married with
2 kids.
with 2 children.
5-year-old son, Trey, Louis
Mhm.
Raymond III, and then I also have Libby, who is 16 months.
16 months. Are you getting any sleep there? Right? Talking about other people calling you. Libby calls out all
Libby
the time.
calls out all the time.
All right. Well, that's good. That's good. And I want to thank you again for coming on Empower Hour today and
I appreciate it.
sharing.
Please invite me back.
Yes, and sharing with what's going on. You know, they might need a political anchor around here because they are not going to get it with Bertina Power at all. But one of the things that I like to do is to let the listeners know a lot of things that are going on as well around town. Now, with the law firm though, so do you have a partner in the law firm? I guess we didn't talk about the actual law firm. We want to tell everybody how they can reach you.
So they can reach me at 773-941-5863, 773-941.
Okay, wait. You know you gotta say it nice and slow so people are writing and listening at the same time. Say it one more time.
You can reach me at 773-941-5863.
5863.
Again, that number is 773-941-5863.
And where are you located though? On the south side?
My office is at 99th and Western, 9901 Southwestern. We're in the old Suburban Bank Building.
Okay.
And,
All right.
I have a great secretary, Sandra. She always gets mad because I accidentally call her Sandra. Alexander, she's a great secretary. We did have an associate, but he actually moved on, and I'm happy for him, Kevin
Mhm.
Cruz. But yeah, we're doing well.
Okay, all right. So if you want to reach out and need a real estate attorney, and I always, in all the years that I was doing real estate, I always identified that when you're dealing with the contract, your divorce lawyer, your criminal lawyer, and your personal injury lawyer are not the ones to come and do a real estate deal. And I know real estate is part of law school, right?
Right.
And
Well, it's funny because nobody really thinks about doing real estate because nobody likes the class called property.
gotcha.
Yes, it's probably one of the worst classes in law school and one of the worst parts of the bar. Thank God that's not happening again. I'm
Right.
done.
Right. So then, but with that being the case, you want to have somebody who knows and understands those rules because they are a lot different. You
Yes.
know, first of all, we're not going to bat with the other side like a criminal lawyer might in
Well,
their mind
and
think.
see,
Might not think though, right? They don't immediately go to jabbing in the throat with the other side.
Right, you're right, and I'm just laughing at it because when you kind of have to have a different mindset when it comes from transactional, which is what real estate most of the time the real estate attorneys are doing, than what is called litigation.
Okay.
In litigation, yes, I'm trying to end this as quick as possible, and I'm going for you're going for the jugular. But with transactional, we're trying to move this process going forward where both parties are happy.
Right, you really want an amicable end to this
Yes,
deal,
yes.
right? When you're dealing with real estate, which is why it's very important as well, because you want them to have the right mindset.
Yes.
So you not only want an attorney, you want one with the right mindset, which means get you a real estate attorney.
Yes.
One who's practicing in it more than 50% of their caseload.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to see. I got some terms right there.
Oh,
Caseload.
you got it. You got it.
I got the caseload. Again, I just want to thank you for coming on the show. Is there anything that you want to share with our listeners that is critical when it comes to either one, starting a business and doing it, and or dealing in the real estate arena, no matter whether you're a seller or buyer or wanting to stay in your home? Anything you want to share with our listeners?
And it's I'm not trying to just repeat this and be self-promoting, but get an attorney. When you realize that you found a house that you're willing to purchase, or you realize that you're ready to sell, after you get your real estate agent, before you really sign any contract pertaining to that property, get an attorney. When you get the paperwork from the sheriff regarding the foreclosure, or they're telling you they're getting ready to go into foreclosure, get an attorney. And for my criminal friends, don't blow. And if you have anything else, when I'm talking about don't blow, DUI, do not blow. Please don't.
Oh, yeah, because I was like, what does that mean? Okay. All right. So, in other words, call the attorney too first, right? I want to call my lawyer. Right. As everybody knows, my younger brother is a lawyer, and he used to always say, say nothing. He was like, I don't care if the smoking gun is in your hand, say nothing. My name is Bertina Power.
If the gun is in your hand, there's a video camera recorded that said it's you, and you're standing right over the body, still don't say
My
nothing.
name is Bertina Power, and I want my lawyer.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again for coming on and talking with our listeners today. In the job front, Empower our listeners. If you know or you're looking yourself, there are some immediate manufacturing job openings. And on Save the Date, Thursday, November the 30th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Chicago Heights Recreation Center, they will be having a Southland job fair. But you must bring an updated resume and be prepared to stay at least an hour. And that's at 1400 Chicago Road in Chicago Heights. Bank of America, Safer, BCS, Chicago Southland, a lot of people will be a part of that. I learned the other day, which I did not know, Counselor, that Southwest American Job Center, right at 7500 South Pulaski Road in the building, 100 building, every day of the week and a couple of days throughout the week, they have resume workshops, how to deal with LinkedIn, how to do Word and Excel and individual training and classes, as well as they let you use the phone in case you have a phone interview.
Wow.
Or you need to apply for something online, and all of it is free. And when it comes to stuff like this, I just don't understand why we don't talk about it just as much as we talk about everything else. But this is free. Southwest American Job Center at 7500 South Pulaski. They told me you didn't have to have an income issue. You didn't have to be of a certain race or anything like that, your family status, none of that matters. You can come in here, and if you are looking and need some help with some job, and they have free classes and workshops as well.
I'm looking at that Microsoft Excel class right there.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. You know, if you just need a class on honing some skills as a part of a job you currently already have, that is definitely it. They have Word, they have Excel, they have resume writing, they have online application completion, and LinkedIn. You know, everybody is doing LinkedIn. When I came in today, the guy was saying that, you know, he was logging in and he was just like, your face just popped right up. And I was like, oh, I don't know, because I'm not really on there, but apparently, you know, it happens out there as well. So these social media areas are also where you are finding jobs. No longer is it just walk into a place and think that you're going to sit down and meet somebody or talk to somebody and just dropping your resume off is not doing it either, right? So now, if you are looking for a CHA resident, if you are a CHA resident and you're looking for a career, there's also some information for you to be received or gotten while you are at that 7500 South Pulaski. So they work directly with CHA residents for helping them, and they have some specialties there. Now, we were talking about real estate, and they have a Chicago Women in Trades a program, like a 12-week program that has started already for the month of, I think, September and October, but I'm sure they will be having more that are coming up. A couple of days out the week, they do welding training, construction training, and it is they say enroll in their free 12-week training program, Chicago Women in Trades. You can Google that, look it up, go to Chicago Women in Trades, the number 2.org, and they're right off of 16th Street, just past Western for that. And so that is a great opportunity to women, because I suspect that if you don't have any knowledge in welding and construction, that's why women aren't in the jobs.
Yeah.
But the more training and things that you get, the more that you have. Chicago Public Schools are also always hiring. They say their school lunchrooms are hiring lunchroom attendants, cooks, managers, and porters. So you definitely want to go to cps.edu/careers and apply there. They said high school diploma is all that is required for porters, cooks, and managers. So, you know, if you hadn't had an opportunity to make it to higher education, then that's fine. There's still also jobs that are out there for you as well. And I know we talked about the manufacturing jobs that are out there. If you're fed up with dead-end jobs with no future, want a skilled career with family supporting wages, then you want to come to the Illinois Manufacturing Foundation, where they are training for technical careers as a machinist. You know, that's a lot of hard work, but they said here that they start at $15.50 per hour and up to $20 or more after 1 year's worth of experience. So great opportunity there. Great opportunity there as well. So you definitely want to look up Illinois Manufacturing Foundation and do that so that you can find out more about that. So I want to thank you again. We are coming up with the Mark Allen's Hear My Voice next, right after me. So now, lawyers are hard to find a quote for, you know, because most of the lawyer quotes are all about how bad you all are, right? But I will say this, and you did mention it in yours, the most powerful way to win an argument is by asking questions.
That's right.
And it says it can make people see the law in their logic.
That's right.
Is that right? Yes,
That's right.
it's asking questions and getting help, which we discussed as well. So you are listening to Empower Hour. Don't forget, as I said, to like me and go to Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. This is Empower Hour, and we are here on Urban Broadcast Media, and you can download the UBM app. Find us on our YouTube channel, and we are here at noon Central Standard Time. I'm Bertina Power. Thanks for listening. All right, get me out of this oven, because it's an oven.